whether that thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this.
Who is to say, church?
Yes.
Who is to say, church, that the situation that you are in right now, that God didn't bring you to this situation for such a time as this?
Yes.
Who's to say? It's like Sister Iris back there. Well, Elder Mishaw prophesied that there's going to be a what? Another depression? He said, but if the people can make it to the farm and get a piece of bread and a glass of milk, they'll be able to do what?
Survive.
Now, Sister Marsha, a couple years, or Iris, a couple years ago, was living in North Carolina. But God brought her back. So that prophecy can be fulfilled. Who knows if God did not bring you to this place for such a time as this? Who knows that the situation that is going on in your life right now, that God did not put you in that place for his purpose, for his reason? God knows what he's doing, church.
Oh, yes.
15 says what?
Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present at Shechem.
Gather all together. All of them. And what?
And fast ye for me.
And fast ye for me. What?
And neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also in my maids will fast likewise. And so will I go into the kings, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
So Mordecai did what?
So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
You know, Mordecai's choice of words really did move Esther. To the extent that Esther said, I'm not going to look at the hill, I'm just going to start climbing. If I perish, I perish. If I die, I die. I'm not worried about what's going to happen. She didn't look at the hill, she just started climbing.
Amen.
She wasn't concerned about how far away or how high that hill was. She just started climbing.
Amen.
Esther 5:1 says what?
Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house.
Now remember now, if anyone went and stood in the inner court
Yes.
and wasn't invited to do that, there was one law. And that law was, you get put to death. But Esther said, if I perish, I perish. She said, I'm not concerned about me perishing. I'm not going to look at the hill, I'm just going to start climbing. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house, and the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And what?
And it was so.
And it was so.
When the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
She obtained favor. And what's it say?
And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand.
And?
So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
Then said the king unto her, what?
What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
Not only did the king not have her killed or put to death for coming into the inner court, but it said she also found favor.
Yes.
Not only did he hold out the golden scepter,
Yes.
unto her, but he also told her, whatever you want, all the way up to half of the kingdom.
Yeah, looking pretty good. Yeah.
It's like President Obama calling up Brother Brian. Brother Brian, I will give you half of the United States. It's yours. I'm going to give you half the kingdom. If that's what you want, Esther, you got it.
Yes.
It's all about having favor with God, church.
Yes.
When you got God on your side,
Yes.
you got favor. When you got God on your side, church, you have favor. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? And it shall be what?
And it shall be given thee to the half of the kingdom.
Because she didn't look at the hill, church. She just started climbing.
Yes.
She didn't look at the hill, church. She just started walking. An individual came into the church and he stood right there by Sister Talani, where Sister Talani is sitting. And he said, if God took you to it, then he can take you through it. If God took you to it, then he can take you through it. I got a letter in the mail on yesterday from Charles City County Public Schools. So I opened it up and briefly read it. Then I told DJ that it had, and this letter was about DJ. So he took it from me and started to read it, and I'm saying to myself, how in the world is he going to read this letter with them big words in it? But there's one thing I found out about DJ. He doesn't look at the hill. He just starts climbing. He just starts climbing. This letter says, Mr. and Mrs. David Smith, 8600 Pocahontas Trail, Pittsburgh, Virginia, 23185. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, your child, David Smith, Jr., has been referred and nominated for assessment to receive services for the Academically Gifted Strive program. In order to evaluate your child's ability, the school division must administer tests and gather data. After completion of the assessment process, the results will be sent to the Identification Placement Committee to determine your child's eligibility to receive gifted education services. The test and data may include the following, and then it says, in order to complete the assessment process, we must have parental permission. Please complete the attached form and return it to Ms. Laura Richardson, Strive teacher at your child's school. If you have questions or comments, please call me.
I'm not surprised.
Now, Brother DJ was given a test last week, I think it was. It was a placement test. And this placement test, from what I understand, was no joke. And the teacher commented something to the extent that DJ just kept on going. He just wouldn't stop. And it was first grade level, reading assessment. Second grade level, he kept right on going. Third grade level, he kept right on going. Fourth grade level, he kept right on going. He went all the way up to fifth grade level reading. Because he didn't look at the hill, church. He just kept right on going. Don't look at the hill, church. Just start walking. In order to endure, one must not look at the hill.
Yeah.
He didn't look at the piece of paper and say, Daddy, these words are too hard. He started reading it. He just started reading it. To endure, church, one must not look at the hill.
Yeah.
Just start climbing. Hebrews 12th chapter.
Yes.
To endure, one must not look at the hill. Hebrews 12th chapter. First verse says what?
Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses.
So great a cloud of witnesses. Let us do what?
Let us lay aside every weight.
Let us lay aside every weight.
Amen.
Whatever is causing you to look at the hill, lay it aside.
Amen.
Lay it aside. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
lay it aside.
Amen.
And what?
And the sin which doth so easily beset
and the
us.
sins that are weighing you down, church, lay it aside.
Yes.
And what?
And let us run with patience the
and let us
race.
do what?
and let